Our third presenter is Mr. Jeff Birkel. Jeff is a father of 3 children and 1 stepson, all of whom he's extremely proud to say are contributing members of society. He's married to his wife, Karla, of 13 years. And on October 6th, they became grandparents for the first time. Jeff and Karla both are retired. Jeff from Caterpillar after 33 years as an engineer and manager, and Karla from nursing, mostly in the emergency department. They both went farming and ranching full-time after their respective retirements on Jeff's family ranch in Nebraska, up until Jeff's ALS diagnosis in late 2023. They both like to travel and enjoy spending time with their 4 children, new grandson, and 3 cats, splitting their time between their homes in Peoria, Illinois, and the ranch near North Platte, Nebraska. Did I say it right? Yeah, Platte, okay. The title of his presentation today is Making the Best of Life, Living with ALS. He's the best inspiration. Listen to him. In this inspiring presentation, Jeff shares his personal journey, highlighting the challenges, triumphs, and lessons learned along the way. With honesty and hope, he offers a powerful reminder that even in the face of ALS, life can still be meaningful, joyful, and full of purpose. Jeff, thank you so much.
First off, I would just want to say, my talk is going to fit really well with the other 2, and we didn't even collaborate. So thank you for setting me up. Okay, well, as you know, I'm Jeff Birkel, and I'm a 64-year-old Caterpillar retired technical manager. I was married to my lovely wife, Karla, who's here today, and in 2012, and I call her my angel because she really is. Yeah. Between us, we have 4 grown children. I have 3 from my previous marriage, and she has 1. And as you heard, I'm thrilled to announce we have a new member of the Birkel family that was born October 6th. So it's fantastic, yeah. Sorry. I was diagnosed in December of 2023 at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, and it was limb onset with my right arm and leg. I can still walk unaided around the house. I quite often use my cane, but I don't have the stamina anymore, so that's why I said I need a sit to give this talk. For those of you that go to ALS Clinic, my assessment score was 38, which isn't too bad. Anyway, that's my grandson. And the fun fact is, I used to be a marathon runner. I better say that before I show you the pictures. So, anyway, the diagnosis moment, for those of you that have ALS, you never, it's a tough moment. And we cried for 3 days. You know, it's not what you want. And the first time, we truly felt like, you know, our souls were crying. And it was tough. We didn't really know what lay ahead, but we knew it wasn't good. And we had so many thoughts and questions. The future was not going to be what we dreamed of and planned for, and it just got a whole lot scarier. But after 3 days of crying and general feeling misery, I realized this wasn't how I wanted to spend the rest of my precious time. So I resolved to bring some good out of an otherwise bad situation. I clung to my faith for strength, guidance, and hope. I embraced my support network to give me answers, solutions, and to dispel the fear of the unknown. And I leaned on a personal strength I already knew I had. I took a test once at Caterpillar called Strength Finder. It's by Gallup. There were about 30 different management traits listed. It turned out positivity was one of my top 5 traits. Positivity isn't about denial or exuberant optimism. It's about how we choose to look at and approach life. I saw no reason to change after my diagnosis. And a positive attitude gives you the strength and energy to fight, to carry on, to really live with ALS. So I had kind of a turning point in this positivity thing. I worked at Caterpillar, and Ed Rapp worked at Caterpillar, and we all loved him. He was diagnosed in November of 2015. And I was able to get in touch with Ed because one of my coworkers, Dad had ALS for 20 years, and Ed reached out to her. So now she put me in touch with Ed because I said, I want to talk to a guy who's lived with ALS for 8 years and has a positive attitude. And so I got connected to Ed. You know, Ed was a big dog at Caterpillar. He was going to be the next CEO, and we were all so excited. But he had to step down because stress and ALS, for those pals out there, you know that's a terrible combination. Anyway, he started his own foundation and website, and he has a program called Answer ALS. I think, Doc, he's trying to gather all that data for AI for you guys to churn it out. Anyway, he's also raised over $50 million, but Ed's a real connected guy, and so he put it to good work for us, and we're all very grateful. He exudes positivity, absolutely. And he shared everything he knew about ALS with me, which I was so grateful. And he became my role model on how I wanted to live and deal with this ALS. And he gave me hope that Doc talked about. He gave me hope that all was not lost, and I'll never forget when he wrapped up the conversation. He said, Jeff, you can really have a good life with ALS, and that was really encouraging. In that moment, I resolved to do my best not to let this disease define my remaining days. Ed had been doing it now for 10 years, and he was happy and making the best of it, so why couldn't I? I began living with purpose and joy from that moment on, but my priorities changed. Time, obviously, is more precious. Relationships and prayer life went to the top of my list. I began social media journaling, Dr. Kramer. You know, he said to write and stuff. So I did that through social media, telling my story, to share our story, to use it to help others with ALS. And of course, I made time for traveling because I love traveling. And you got to do that while you still can, so you just don't want to get carried away because you'll wear yourself out. But even the trips that I was on, the traveling was secondary to the spending time with family and friends, right? You know, it's fun to go someplace, but it's even better to go with the people you love, obviously. Helping others has given me a worthwhile purpose to focus on, and something other than myself. Oh, poor me, I have ALS. You got to get out of that mode. And I've found there's more joy in giving than there is in receiving. So I'd like to share some personal examples of making the best of it with ALS. We did, you heard, we did all these marathons. Well, we had to do one that they didn't mention. We had to do a qualifier for Boston. And it was in the end of August, and it was hot, but my boy pushed me, and we got into the Boston Marathon. Yeah. It is a big deal. I'm not up here to boast, look at me what I did. But it was incredible. There was only about, a dozen pushchairs in the race there at Boston. So it's real hard to get in as a pushchair entry. And then I had so much fun. We had signed up for Chicago in case we didn't get into Boston. So I'm like, let's do it again. So we just did Chicago here a few weeks ago, yeah. Okay. Other things that bring me joy was we planted a small garden even this year. I always had gardens, but I love to watch it grow, and then we canned a bunch of stuff here in the past few months. And I have 3 cats, you heard. I actually have 5. There's 2 outdoor cats on the ranch. Yeah. So I'm a cat. I don't dislike dogs, but you can't go away for a month and leave a dog in the house, Anyway, and then working on reinforcing my faith. And then, of course, be happy. Don't dwell on what you got. Dwell on what you have, And so I try to spend lots of time with my family. And believe it or not, this is a picture of me in this wheelchair in the back of a conga line in Cancun all-inclusive resort. Woo-woo, And then this is a picture of us. I took the picture, so I'm in the pool. But I love this picture because there's an additional member of the family hiding in the background. You can see it's my Jazzy Carbon wheelchair. And then, of course, what brings me joy? That brings me joy. Yeah, that's my grandson, Jonah. Okay, so if you're worried about getting through the day, it's pretty hard to be joyful. So you need to make some adaptations, and I know most of you here do, but I'm just going to reinforce them. I got a cane, and I'm sitting on it right now. It's the kind that fold up. It's called a hurricane, so it gets out of the way. Walmart has them. My wife found this, bless her heart. It's an off-road walker. I also have a cheap one from Walmart that works inside and on sidewalks. But I have this ranch in Nebraska. As long as I can ambulate, this walker is great. Then, of course, my Jazzy Carbon wheelchair, courtesy of the Gleason Foundation. This is one of my best friends. I love it. And then I don't want to talk too much about this, but Kelly gave it to me. And at first I thought, I don't need this, but I do now at night in bed because it's a lot safer staying in bed. Okay. And then a shower stool, that's just conserve energy, right? And then, after a while, it gets hard to get up off those low toilets. So that thing only costs $129 at Menards. So a good friend of mine put it in, and it's been a lifesaver. I tell him every time I use it, I think of him. And Kelly gave me this too. It's a voice amplifier. And boy, was that really handy in the Boston Marathon because I wore the headset and we put the speaker in the water bottle hole so my son could hear me because the crowd was so loud. And then a lazy boy recliner, you know, it's electric powered. And then the wheelchair ramp. So I want to stay at home. So Kelly came and helped us identify what we needed to ALS proof the house. And so we got a bunch of ramps. And of course, the stair lifts, because I can still go up and down the stairs, but I use it in the morning before my legs have woken up, and I use it at night to go back to bed. So, and then my favorite, the hot tub. Oh, I don't know what it is about ALS, but you can almost not be too hot. And my hot tub, the first time I got in it, it was like, you know, and you don't want to get out. So my point here is, if you're worried about just getting through the day, you can't be joyful and positive because you're worried about your safety and how you're going to do something. So get that stuff in place. And some of the best advice Kelly ever gave me was, get it in place before you need it. So we've been doing that. Thank you, Kelly. Okay. So my real secret, I'm going to tell you my real secret. People are always noticing my positive attitude. And some ask why, you know, given I have ALS and it's 100% fatal right now. So I'm going to share with you my reasons for nearly constant positivity. I have my bad days too. It's not really a secret at all, though. It's something I learned in my youth and then was reinforced in my adulthood. We've all heard it said, money and things can't buy you lasting happiness or joy. And I certainly believe that now more than ever. To live life to the fullest with joy and positivity, in spite having ALS, is to live carefree. Well, you might ask yourself, how do you do that when you've been told you got 100% fatal disease? It's going to get you eventually. Well, my answer is faith. I have a strong faith because I know where I'm going. Faith leads to hope. Doc talked about the importance of hope. I thought, yeah, he's really on to it. And hope leads to love. And hope plus faith plus love equals the joy and positivity in your life. So I'm going to do a little engineering thing here on you. So it's like making a proof. Remember back in the days of math, you had a proof thing? So anyway, I thought, oh, I can make this a theorem. Anyway, so joy and positivity equals carefree living. Therefore, remember the therefore symbol, some of you? I had to go on the web to find that one. Faith equals carefree living. So my faith is where I turn to first after the diagnosis. I resolved to become a better person. I began seeing nothing like a fatal diagnosis to make you want to live like a saint. I personally believe there is a heaven, and when I die, I want to go straight there. Hence my desire to live like a saint. But that doesn't mean I'm not a sinner anymore. I am for sure. It's too fun, isn't it? I didn't really mean that. It's been more frustrating, though, when I catch myself still screwing up, especially now. I'm thinking, what more could a fatal diagnosis be for an incentive to be good? Come on, Jeff. You know, I'm a little hard on myself. But hey, I must have been saying that in the confessional because I was told by the priest that even the saints were sinners. They just knew it more keenly than most people. So they picked themselves up and asked for forgiveness with a contrite heart. And I resolved to do better then, because I know that I can be forgiven again and again, thank God, if my heart is in the right place. It allows me to hope I can make it to heaven. We're all going to die at some point. Heaven is for eternity. So I tell myself, well, what's so bad about going a few years earlier than I thought I would? And ALS, it's not all bad. It has given me time to make changes, to reconcile if need be, and to just get my life in order. This is a good thing. I tell people, it's not all bad getting ALS. You get the rock star parking spots. You get fast-tracked in airport security. You get to board the plane first, even before first class. And you get your full Social Security, even if you're under 65. So, but seriously, because I know where I'm going, and by all accounts, I believe it will be better than I imagine. I have hope. Hope for a better life. Hope for a better future. Hope because of my faith. And because I have hope, I can love with my whole heart. That is my path, my way to a joyful, carefree life in my remaining days. So I have some messages, a personal message for all you pals out there. So my fellow pals, you're not alone. Your voice matters. Every day counts. You can choose how to respond to a situation, pity or love. Don't let this disease define who you are. Don't deny it, but be remembered for how you embraced it and still lived a good life. To encourage you that these are not just words, but a choice you can make, I'm going to share with you quickly a few of my personal examples of my life of getting out there and making the best of it with ALS post-diagnosis. So, first one I'm showing you is a beach holiday in St. Martin in the Caribbean with Karla. The next one is a family ski trip, and believe it or not, we found out about something called assisted skiing. And I tried it, and it was great. And I thought, I'm coming back. But I was so tired. I couldn't do it after. But it was fun. They put little skis on the end of your ski poles. And so I was skiing on my own, but it was great. Anyway, then I lived in England, made all these good friends, and we went on all these sailing holidays, and they wanted to take me on one more. So in April of 2024, they loaded me on the sailboat, and off we went to the Greek islands for a week. Then Karla and I, we were praying for a miracle. So we said, let's go to Fatima in Portugal. And on the way to Lourdes in France, they take you by Avila, which is a special town in Spain. So that was great. And then, heard me say we did the beach holidays in Cancun, and I just love that family photo. Isn't that wonderful? The happiness there, yeah. And then, of course, we did we had so much fun this year. We went back to St. Martin, and so we did another week there. And then in August, we have my sister lives in Ireland, and my parents, when they were younger, bought a house, and so we use it as a vacation home. And I wanted to go to it one more time, and so my son Mike and his wife, they're, oh, we'll go with you, Dad. They hadn't been to visit Aunt Becky, who lives in Ireland, for a while, so that's all of us having a meal together at their house. And then you already heard about the marathons. That really gave me something to look forward to. And then I'm continuing to look forward to doing more of that. Yeah. And then along the way, in between the trips, the part where I said I like helping others, we formed our own 501c a charity just to raise funds for ALS so I could go after the corporate matches. And I'm real good. And about 25% of the 60,000 or so we raised actually came from the matches, so it was a good thing to do that. And half went to ALS Association and half went to ALS United. Thank you. So I say, get out there and live. I'm happiest with myself when I'm working to help others or just spending quality time with my family and friends. The joy is in the giving, but I'm not done yet. I gotta thank our angels here, the caregivers that are here today. You carry love in every lift, every meal, every act of kindness. Your actions and attitudes can bring peace, hope, and love to your pals. Without caregivers, we would be resigned to a life just waiting for the end. So you're truly angels here on earth. Thank you. And lastly, we have the broader community. That's all of you here. I have just a few more words to go, and then I'll be done. First off, you heard me say how scary it was to be diagnosed with ALS. Well, nobody more than this community acted to dispel my fears and took the scary out of ALS. I'm sure I'm not excited to have ALS any more than I was on the day I got told I had it. But I just know you all got my back and we're not walking this path alone. That knowledge brings me peace and allows me to live carefree. I don't have to worry about getting taken care of. You guys are going to help me. So I can't help but think you're like the story of the Good Samaritan in the Bible. For those of you that are Christian, it's all a story we're familiar with. And if you're not, it's some stranger that was kind of the enemy to the Jews. Not exactly, but they didn't like each other. And he found this guy beat up on the side of the road and stopped and took care of him. And this is a painting by Rembrandt that shows, he's taken him into the end to have him cared for. So you guys are like that guy. He took care of strangers because you care. That's why you're all involved, is you care. You didn't know me before this, and that's not what got you into it. So in many ways, I feel like you're making our life easier, and I feel like you're carrying us. And so that made me think of that footprints in the sand poem. And I'm not going to read it to you, but I'm going to leave it up at the end because, it's really in my heart what you're all doing for us pals and the caregivers too, because they need help. Okay, so in closing, I want to say, keep showing up with courage and laughter and compassion. Don't take yourself too seriously. Live in the moment and appreciate each day. You can have a good life with ALS. I encourage you to choose love, not sadness. Love never fails. And in closing, you are all here this day because you want to help or you are looking for answers and support. Even though this is probably the best club you didn't think you wanted to join. It is one of the best communities I have ever been a part of. We are truly stronger if we work together, and we are invincible when we work in love. Thank you, and stay strong.